Oprah Winfrey, a woman whose name once echoed triumph, resilience, and power, now finds herself at a crossroads few could ever imagine. For decades, Oprah wasn't just a talk show host. She was a force of nature. She gave hope to the hopeless, a voice to the voiceless, and built an empire that stretched from television to film, books, and beyond. But behind the radiant smile, the grand mansions, and the billions in her bank account lies a story far more human and far more heartbreaking than most realize. At 71, Oprah's journey has taken a quieter, more introspective turn. Once surrounded by adoring crowds and cameras, her days are now marked by reflection, and in some moments, loneliness. The people who once filled her life with laughter and work are now miles away. The once bustling studios of the Oprah Winfrey Show have long gone silent, replaced by memories that echo through time. Those who have followed her story know that Oprah never had children of her own, a choice she made to dedicate herself fully to her calling. But now, as age settles in, whispers have begun about how deeply that decision weighs on her. "I thought I had everything," she once said in an old interview. But sometimes, when the cameras turn off, you realize what was missing. Her empire, though mighty, came at a cost: the sacrifices of love, companionship, and time that can never be bought back. Yet, despite the pain, Oprah continues to inspire. Even in solitude, she shares wisdom that lights up millions of lives, teaching us all that the journey of purpose is not without its wounds. She still speaks of gratitude, peace, and healing, reminding us that broken hearts can still shine with grace. And maybe that's Oprah's greatest legacy of all: the courage to face heartbreak with dignity and to turn pain into purpose. As fans, we can only honor her by learning from her story, to live fully, to love deeply, and to never stop growing. If you've ever been touched by Oprah's message, let's take a moment to celebrate her strength and heart. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to honor her journey, and to continue exploring the untold truths behind the legends who shaped our world. As the years roll on, Oprah sits on her veranda overlooking the quiet hills of her Montecito estate, the same place that once hosted presidents, movie stars, and dreamers from every corner of the world. Now, it's mostly still, the sound of birds, the whisper of the wind, and the distant hum of memories that refuse to fade. She often reflects on the young girl she once was, poor, abused, overlooked, and yet burning with a vision so powerful it could move mountains. From that small wooden house in Mississippi to becoming one of the most influential women on earth, her story has always been about rising, not without pain, but through it. And yet, even legends have moments when the past knocks softly at the door. Oprah has spoken openly about the nights when she couldn't sleep, when the applause and fame couldn't fill the emptiness left by lost friendships and the passage of time. She's lost people she loved dearly, mentors, friends, even audience members whose letters once lifted her spirit. Fame, as she often says, doesn't make you immune to grief. It only gives you a bigger stage to hide it on. Recently, fans noticed her withdrawing from the spotlight, appearing only in select interviews and special projects. Some say she's preparing to say goodbye to the public life she's known for over 4 decades. But others believe she's simply seeking peace, the kind that only comes when you've given the world all you can. And perhaps that's true, because behind the quiet, there's a sense of contentment in her eyes now. a wisdom born of years of triumph, tears, and truth. Oprah Winfrey has lived many lives within one lifetime. And though the cameras may not capture her every move anymore, the light she brought into the world still glows. In every dreamer who believes that no matter where you start, you can rise. But still, her fans can't help but feel the weight of time. That unspoken sadness that comes when a legend begins to slow down. Because in a way, we grew up with her, and the thought of her story reaching its final chapters feels like losing a part of our own. So as you watch this, take a moment to honor Oprah. Not just the icon, but the woman, the soul, the warrior who showed the world that from pain can come power. And if her story touched you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep celebrating lives that shaped our world, one heartfelt story at a time. And as the sun begins to set behind the California hills, Oprah Winfrey sits in the golden glow of her memories, surrounded by the echoes of a life that changed millions. She no longer needs the cameras, the applause, or the grand stage, because her legacy has already been carved deep into the heart of history. But even with all the success, even with the wealth and the wisdom, there's a loneliness that sometimes lingers. The silence after decades of constant noise can be deafening. Friends have come and gone, and so many who once shared her spotlight have faded into time. She looks through old photos, her eyes softening as she sees the faces of people who shaped her journey. Maya Angelou, Gayle King, Stedman, and countless others who walked with her through laughter and pain. Each image tells a story of triumph, heartbreak, and resilience. Oprah often says, "Everyone wants to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who'll take the bus with you when the limo breaks down." Now, in her later years, she understands that truth more deeply than ever. The glamorous parties and the flashing lights were never what truly mattered. It was the moments of real connection, the tears shared, the lives changed by a simple conversation on that talk show couch. Still, the world can be cruel to even the kindest hearts. Critics have attacked her for her wealth, her choices, even her silence. They forget she's human. A woman who has carried the weight of expectation for decades, a symbol of hope who was never allowed to falter. And yet, through it all, she stands. Not as the invincible queen of daytime television, but as a woman who has learned to embrace her imperfections and find peace in the quiet. In one rare interview, Oprah said, "I used to run on the energy of proving people wrong. Now, I run on the peace of knowing I've already done enough." Those words reveal everything. A lifetime of striving, finally surrendering to stillness. At 71, the tragedy isn't that Oprah has slowed down. It's that the world is slowly realizing how much emptier it feels without her voice guiding it. But maybe that's the final lesson she leaves us with. That true greatness isn't about never falling, but about continuing to rise, even when no one is watching. And as we close this chapter, take a moment to honor the woman who turned pain into purpose and fame into faith. Oprah Winfrey, not just a name, but a force of love, compassion, and truth. If her story inspired you today, don't forget to subscribe, share, and keep her message alive. Because the light she gave the world still burns bright in every heart that dares to dream. Late at night, when the house is silent and the world outside fades into darkness, Oprah sometimes walks through her garden, barefoot, feeling the earth beneath her feet. The same earth she once dreamed upon as a child in Mississippi. looking up at the stars, wondering if her life would ever matter. Now, decades later, those same stars look down on a woman who not only changed her own life, but changed the course of millions. And yet, even now, she feels the quiet ache of solitude. The cameras no longer follow her every move. The crowds no longer chant her name, but perhaps that's how she prefers it. Fame was never meant to last forever, but impact, that's eternal. She takes a deep breath, the cool air filling her lungs, and whispers to herself, "You did good, girl." The words hang softly in the air, a mix of gratitude and release. She thinks of the people she's helped, the students she's educated, the women she's empowered, the lives she's touched through her endless acts of giving. Few know the countless times she's quietly paid someone's bills, funded entire schools, or offered a hand to a stranger in need. Oprah's generosity has always been her truest language of love. But beneath that giving spirit lies a deep weariness, a soul that's carried too much for too long. The tragedy of Oprah Winfrey isn't failure or scandal. It's the exhaustion that comes with being everyone's hero while having no one to lean on. She's smiled through pain, comforted others while silently hurting herself, and kept her strength unshaken even when her own heart was breaking. And though she rarely shows it, the years have taken their toll. The endless demands, the expectations, the scrutiny, all have left invisible scars. Yet, through it all, Oprah remains a beacon of grace. She continues to remind the world that healing is possible, that faith can rebuild even the most shattered souls, and that purpose never fades, no matter how old you are. As she turns back toward her home, her silhouette bathed in moonlight, you can't help but feel both admiration and sorrow. Admiration for the legend she became, and sorrow for the woman behind the legend who gave so much of herself to the world. So as we reflect on her journey, let's not just remember the billionaire, the mogul, or the icon. Let's remember the girl who rose from the dirt and turned her pain into light. The woman who taught us that forgiveness is power, and kindness is strength. Oprah Winfrey's story is more than heartbreaking. It's human. And if her life has touched you in any way, let's honor her today by spreading compassion, lifting others up, and never forgetting the power of a single voice to change the world.